Hi there, and welcome to Quick Tips for Online Teaching. I'm your host, Jenna Camp, and today we're talking about the fabulous 4 C's. The 4 C's relate to 4 interconnected concepts that are required for 21st century learning. Now, these 4 C's originally were published by the Partnership for 21st Century Education, or P21.org. They've now become batelforkids.org. These 4 C's include collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity, or creative thinking. Now, I have housed these 4 C's in the greater context of neuro and socio-linguistic diversity because though I recognize and agree with P21 that these 4 C's are critical skills for kids to learn to become thriving, successful adults, I also understand that as teachers, as educators, we need to conceive of these 4 skills and their development within the neurodiversity and sociolinguistic diversity of our classrooms, of our scholars. So let's get into what these 4 C's really mean. When we are designing instruction with these 4 C's in mind, when we are designing instruction for our neuro and sociolinguistic diverse scholars, we want to focus on communication skills, for starters, meaning reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills. Now, those are 4 of the 4 domains of the English language arts standards within the Common Core state standards. But they're also whole school, whole life skills, right? We have to read to learn, we have to write about what we have read, we have to write about what we understand, we have to write things to express ourselves, we listen to others, we speak to others. So these are just basic, these 4 reading, writing, listening, speaking skills are basic life skills, right? So to assist scholars to develop these effective skills, we want to remember to provide communication that is scaffolded appropriately. So perhaps we're using verbal and written sentence frames for our scholars. We're having word banks for our scholars. We are making sure that we are using perhaps Freyer models to help scholars learn important terms or important concepts. And these are communication learning experiences that we can design as educators that help our scholars better improve their reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills. We also want to design learning experiences that require collaboration because boy, listening and speaking, that communication really comes into collaboration. You cannot have effective collaboration working together towards a common goal if you're not listening to each other and speaking with each other and doing such in a respectful and appropriate manner. Also, what helps for collaborative learning experiences is to define and assign roles. Specific roles help build positive interdependence within a group, as well as create individual accountability so that there aren't hitchhikers in that group. It's not just 1 or 2 scholars doing all the work and doing all the talking and listening and reading and writing and computation and problem solving, but that everybody has a role and they need each other to complete that task. But they're not going to fail as a whole because one person is really struggling to fulfill his or her accountability. So you want those roles to help with that. In terms of designing learning experiences with critical thinking in mind, we're really talking about project-based learning, problem solving, or problem-based learning. I'm looking at learning experiences that are not just relying on rote memory or basic information or superficial learning, but that we're really going deeper. And this is where I love to use the resources from criticalthinking.org, those intellectual standards and those questions that help us understand if our information is clear, accurate? Is it relevant to the task at hand? Can we look at this in a deep way? Can we take a deep dive into this idea? Maybe we have to take a broader view and understand all of the lateral perspectives surrounding a particular issue. And those elements of thought, that wheel of thought, or the parts of thinking, help us understand, okay, what's the purpose of this task, or what's the purpose of this person's work, of this text? What assumptions are being made within the text? What assumptions are we bringing to it? What conclusions can we draw? What information is included? Looking at all of the elements of thinking and applying that to solve a problem helps scholars develop their critical thinking skills, and these intellectual standards help scholars and educators talk about what is effective thinking versus what is thinking that doesn't go deep enough, far enough, or get clear enough or specific enough. Finally, creative thinking learning experiences really deal with hands-on types of learning experiences, manipulatives, constructions, maybe design-based learning. It can include building things. It can include taking things apart. It can include analysis. It can include synthesis, where you're creating something new. Creative thinking can be written. You can ask scholars to write narratives or poetry, or even a basic assignment that we think might be more analytical or more informative, like a how-to, can become a creative thinking experience when we're focused on the iteration involved in creative thinking, where we have to keep tweaking and retweaking something, looking at a new approach to this, considering a new perspective, adding something in after you revise. All of that is about creative thinking and having scholars understand various iterations of a topic or a task, looking at things in lots of different kinds of ways. I hope this has been a useful overview of the 4 C's. And if you want more quick tips for online teaching, check out jennacamp.com. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram at jennacamp educational. And I thank you for your time. Have a great day.